Okay. So, Andrea, if somebody can text me or something or unmute, just let me know that you can hear me all right. You can see the screen all right.
Screen looks great. You're good to go.
Okay, great. All right. Well, once again, folks, it's great to have you today. We're going to have a simple tool here to get you from your why to action steps, and for everybody that you're involved with. So as I take you through this, once again, I have utilized this tool for many of reasons. And let me go ahead and take us to the first slide, and then I'll share with you a few of those purposes that I've used this. And so when should you use this tool? Okay, well, you can use it to help a person. This is number one. Okay, number one and most important. If somebody's having trouble deciding whether this is for them or not, I promise if you'll take them through, yes, it's going to be like a 30-minute tool for me explaining it to you guys today, but you can take them through this exercise, through this tool. You can take anybody through this tool to help them to make a decision on whether to join, and they're going to do it on their own conclusions, because you're going to just ask them a series of questions using this simple tool that's been used throughout time in sales, throughout time in real estate, throughout time in cars sales, throughout time in network marketing, throughout time in anything to help somebody to make a decision. And you're going to understand why in just a minute. Number two, you can help a new person to understand what it actually takes to be successful. Because by the time this exercise is done, we're going to lay out exactly what it takes to do and to be successful. And you're going to do that with your person, with your teammate, or with a team of teammates. So that's why I suggested having pen and paper here, because I'm going to actually take you through that. And you're going to see that up here on the screen. And I've done this exercise on napkins over and over again, having lunch with teammates, maybe having lunch to follow up with somebody in the past, where that I've just done what I'm calling here. I've made this into a co-op tool. So I'm calling it the co-op T, but it's actually a cost versus benefit T that's going to blow your mind in just a minute, I believe. So number three, you can help members that's been in a while get excited again and create a new commitment for themselves for their own causes. So you can refresh and let them understand why it was that they joined again and all of the above. And this same tool and this same process that we're about to share works on all of the three above in the same exact way, doing it the same exact way for every person. So with that, let me keep moving forward there. My screen keeps popping into my way, but this is what I call the co-op T and the cost versus benefit T. And so cost versus benefits is pronoun forever and ever, amen, right? So what I'd like you to do, if you have a pen and paper, is just up and down, just draw a T, and at the very top, just put cost versus benefits. And we're going to take you through a little exercise here that will help you and help you to get some quick acknowledgement. You see, our mind triggers on questions. Just as you heard CJ train on Saturday, our mind triggers on questions. So whether it's to get you re-engaged and re-enthusiastic, whether it's to get a new person making a decision, if they are asked the right questions or taken through a little exercise like this to get their own questions, then they're going to enjoy this. So we're going to jump back and forth a little bit here. I'm going to come back to this, but on a blank sheet of paper, if you literally just had a line drawn down and a line across the top and cost versus benefit, that's all you really need to get started with this training. So here we go. I'm gonna keep on it going. So these are some questions that we're gonna be asking. We're gonna be asking what people's program what people or programs would they like to see their donations benefiting. We're going to talk about some goals. We're going to talk about some action steps and exactly what it takes to accomplish 1 and 2. But let's just move forward on that. And this screen will help us to utilize, and then I'm going to show you some that I've filled out, and you can see how simple it is. And I think that you can see how that if I just drew a line on a napkin and a line on top across the top, and I knew the questions to ask, that I could get the answers and put them on paper for them. So the first thing that I'm going to ask them, and guys, when you're asking these questions, you're not asking for a brainstorm. We are not brainstorming here. What we are is quick pro quo, right? Or quick, I don't even know if that's the right way to say it. Quick question and answers, right? Because you want what's coming to their heart and coming to their mind right away, especially if there's somebody looking to join Co-op 50/50 for the first time. So if you're a guest on here tonight and you thought that this was a regular presentation, we have turned Wednesday nights into a training. So I invite you to stick around because this might help you to make a decision as we're doing this. At the same time, I want to welcome you to go and watch some videos on smarterthanmoney.info, smarterthanmoney.info. And because this is only the second week that we made a midweek locker room training, and we're just trying to get some benefits out to the people so that they can understand how to take action steps even faster. So the first question would be, what people or programs would you like to see your donations benefiting? So I like to take this all the way to the heart. And I should put in that question, and I will switch and add to that question, what 3 benefits, 3, we're looking for 3, only 3. What 3 benefits would take you through that? And up at the top there, right here, you're going to want to allow them time to write those 3. So it might be, some of these down here, it might be, for me, it might be to watch other people succeed and make a financial difference in their life. It might be my wife's retirement from the dog grooming shop. It might be, many of things that watching a third world country change and the whole world being poverty free because of this great duplicatable program. Whatever the case may be, those are some ideas. So you might want to do that right now for me, is just write, what would you like your sharing, your giving, and your donating, what would be the top 3 benefits of that to you and your heart, and what does that look like for you? And then I'm going to show you some of the things that I wrote down here in just a minute. And matter of fact, I'm gonna jump over to that real fast. Let's see where I'm going here. Let me jump on over. So here's what I wrote up there at the top. I wrote, watching the people I love not struggle in these different times. Watch my favorite charities in sobriety to be blessed. My main charity is sobriety. I support 3 or 4 sober living homes in Parker, Colorado, and I'd hope one day to build my own sober living home where that I can affect people close to home up here in the mountains. And so we all know, and that touches many lives. So that's my heart. So you're talking to the person that's getting involved with you, or a person of why they got involved in the first place, right? Okay. And then help third world countries change their struggles while eradicating poverty everywhere. Okay. So now I'm just going to go back here just for a minute. And once we've done that, what I'm going to want to do there is at the point of the benefits, I want to stop there. I don't want to ask about the funding, the receiving part yet. I want to talk to them and get a little bit deeper with them. And so with your sharing and your children being involved, wouldn't it be nice to watch them to receive to where that they had from both of our programs here with Co-op Life, where that they had a residual income coming in so that your kid could, so that your kid could be a stay-at-home mom like my daughter wants to be, or whatever the case may be. So you want to dig a little bit deeper with your teammate or the person that you're sharing co-op 50-50 with, to get into their heart. See, we make decisions like this from the truth of our own hearts and what we want to accomplish. And that's how we accomplish things. And I promise you, we're going to get to what it takes and how to accomplish it. And we're going to just give a timeline of what that means and what that exactly shows. So once I've not only let them share, because see, you're going to have some people that might write, oh, pay my debts. Well, let's take it further. Let's take it deeper. Let's ask them a little bit more questions. What would that mean to you to have your maxed out Visa bill show up to be zero, to where that you don't have to worry about driving the car that you have to drive, where you can buy the car that you want to drive? You know, what would that feel like? So you want to get real with people. You want to love up on them, and you want to open up people's dreamers again, don't we? Okay, so we're going to open up the dreamer even more as we go here. So let me keep on going for you. So then on the bottom, remember this whole exercise, 10, 15 minutes is if I'm sitting across the table with you. I'm just explaining it through and the reasons why I do what I do to get people's to really, really open up. Okay. So in 1 year from today, okay, so you're asking them this because at the top of the blank page, or at the or you know, have them draw a line right here in between on the benefit side. Have them draw a line right here in the paper and say on the receiving side, in 1 year from today, what amount of receiving of donations would make a significant difference in your life? Now, I know you guys see my 150,000, but no number is wrong number. You might have a magical big thinker, but we're talking about 1 year from today. And with Co-op Crowd coming out in the near future, hey, that number might be way short on my end. I don't know, but I know that that would make a significant difference towards my, and then now when they pick a number, for one, I'm going to rein it in a little bit. If I believe it's too high for a year from now, I'm going to say, you know what? Yeah, that's great. $1 million, but let's just rein that back. What would 200,000 make a difference for you? And let's rein that number in for them. Or maybe they're they're so used to a little bit of lack in their life, maybe, or they're not used to a bigger amount of money, and they say 10,000. And we're going to bring that up to them. And I think the safe place with Co-op Life to bring it to would be in a year, 100,000 to 200,000. I think would be some solid goals to be shooting for. How do I know that? It's been going on 6 months for us, I believe, and we're at 80,000. So it would be fair to say to me that 150,000 is doable. Matter of fact, with Crowd not being launched yet, I believe it's going to be real doable, right? Okay, so then I'm gonna really ask them to go deep, and I'm only asking for 3. Remember, we're not asking for 20 things. What's 3 things that you would use that money that you're receiving? What's 3 things that you would use that for, and what's the top 3 things at your list? Well, for me, when it comes to retirement, that's more for my wife. See, she works hard every day and loves what she does, but she works hard every day. Her body's not going to be able to do it all the time. Now, I make money every day sitting right here where I am with you. And so working the phones and trading cryptocurrency and all of those good things. So this is where I make my money. And plus I wrote the book and all that good stuff, right? So retirement for me is really meaningful, because I didn't get married not to spend my retirement years with my wife. She's a couple years older than me. Don't let me say that with her listening. And then I talked about the step 7 sober living home. So I need to fix that slide and put step 7 in there. So so I want one of those. I want to always be giving. I want to always be giving back to what got me to where I am today, and I'm maintaining a lifestyle. Now, you should be writing these 3 main things down for yourself. And here is another time that if you're in front of me, let's say Andrea's in front of me and she wrote a couple of these things down, And I'm going to say to Andrea, I'm going to take it deeper. I'm going to say, well, what will you guys be doing in your retirement? How do you picture that? How cool is it going to be when you get that sober living home and you're going to see that first class graduate into their own homes and bringing their lifestyle from nothing burgers, all the way to filet mignon burgers, right? How is it going to feel when that sober living home is producing God's fruit? What's that going to be like? And then of course, for me, I put maintaining lifestyle. But you want to take these. So if I'm sitting across from Andrea, I want to really hear her heart of what she wants for her kid, what she wants for others. And I'm telling you, to do all of what we just did takes less than 10 minutes across the table from somebody, right? Okay. So now I'm going to say, isn't that awesome? Let me tell you what it would take to get to those benefits. We have the benefits, right? We have the why. We're in place. We're all set to go with 2 simple questions. Well, 3. We asked them to come up with a number. We asked them what 3 things that number would accomplish. We talked about being a giver and all of, this tool falls right in line with what we do. We share, we receive, we duplicate, right? So with that, let me take us one step further here and let's keep going. So now, of course, I'm going to be writing these down one by one, but you and your team, see, there's teams on here that duplicate things differently. I have a big group of guys that after every, the Nebraska boys, you guys have seen them, Dean and Bert and all of them, they're just amazing guys. And they're actually coming out to, we're in Colorado, we're doing a live event next Tuesday at a Holiday Inn in Lakewood, Colorado, that everybody's welcome. If you know people in Colorado, it's going to be a live overview at 7:00 at 7390 West Hampden Avenue, Holiday Inn. And we'll put a flyer out for that. But you're all welcome to send people there next Tuesday night. It's free, and we're just going to do a benefit for you, and we will guide them back to you if your guest shows up. We'll make sure all that integrity is held in place. Okay, so cost versus benefit. So now I'm going to show them on the cost side. I'm going to say, so if this is a person that's thinking about getting involved with me, my goal is to share with them with true, honest expectations, exactly what we teach and exactly what it takes to be a part of this. And I'm going to write them one at a time. Okay. Now I want you to follow me here because I'm not writing. If I'm writing, I'm pointing at things with my pen. Okay. That's an old, yes, it's a salesman's trick, but you point at things that you want them to understand with your pen. Okay. And if you do that, it gives them, it sinks into their heart, it sinks into their mind a little bit. So I'm going to say, hey, the first cost is financial, right? So so pretend that all of these are not written up here yet. Okay. By the way, this is my first time ever putting together my own PowerPoint, so bear with me here. And you're going to have things that you want to add to this that you think it'll take for them to build this. You might think that it takes them reading a book a month or whatever. But first, we know that it's somewhere around $200 to $8,000 to get somebody started and wherever they want. Or you might use the sweet spot, talking about that with all fees and everything paid, that it costs $720. And so we know that somebody can get in as low as $200, $173, I believe, to be exact, on the 25 level with the 84 for co-op crowd. So that's a cost, right? So in order to get these things over here, they need to do a one-time payment of that cost over there, right? So can you imagine, I'm using my cursor here, but can you imagine me touching that with my pen, coming over here and circling this and saying, in order to get that, in order for that sober living home to come true, this is all that we need to get started on a residual, on a duplicatable, on an ever growing over and over again donation program the best program in the world, Co-op 50/50. And I'm saying this is all that it takes. Do you see when somebody sees a full overview or they watch a video, it's not sinking into them step by step exactly what it takes to get this done. This exercise, it's taken me a half hour to explain to you. It will take you 5, 10, 15 minutes to go through it. And I'm gonna give you an example of that right when we're done. Then I'm gonna tell them it requires sharing. In order to be a part of co-op life, it requires sharing. And I'm not gonna mince words about that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna probably circle sharing multiple times on the paper in front of them or on the napkin in front of them. How powerful to be able to show somebody a change in their life on a table napkin. I've done it many a times, and duplicating a minimum of 3 people that see the same vision. So you want her to help her to know you know their vision over here. So I might go, hey, how many people do you know that want to see step 7 get more sober living homes so that more men can get sober? You know, how many other people do you know that are needing to retire? So you're going to paint the picture that there's 3 like-minded people right there for them to accomplish and to have. You're going to say, come on now. We went to high school together. What are you talking about? You don't know 3 people that don't need some help with their retirement. You know, that's a obviously question. And also with this skill, if you use obviously, they're in agreement with you. Obviously, you know 3 people that love the Lord as much as you love the Lord and want to see the people in South Africa explode in co-op life so that they don't have to deal with some of the things that they're dealing with right now. You know, whatever the case may be, you get a chance to. Do you see how I would point at that, then I would point at this, I would point at that, then I would point at this, because it costs this to get this. It costs this to get this. It costs this to get this. Okay, are you following me? So if I'm drawing on a napkin, I'm pointing at what it costs in order to get that benefit. I'm reminding them over and over again, and I could do it in 5, 10, 15 minutes. Requires plugging into the world vision at least a few hours a week. So I don't feel that anybody can accomplish this if they're not plugged in at least a few hours a week. And the truth is, if I'm telling somebody this, I lighten this up for you guys. If I'm telling somebody this, I'm going to tell them 6 to 8 hours a week minimum. Okay. So why? Because we have the locker room training. I call that an hour on Saturday. Why? We got the locker room training on this one. Why? Because we have presentations that if the meeting don't need you, if you don't need the meeting needs you. Always remember that. You might not have a guest on that meeting, but Greg might need your testimony that night. He might need to default and need your help with something. If the meeting, so I think that number is even bigger. But I can say, you know, and you're asking them, could you do that? Could you give a few hours a week in order to get this? Could you give a few hours a week in order to get this? Are you following me? How on a piece of paper, how simple this is? It doesn't have to be in a PowerPoint. It doesn't have to be on a computer. But guess what? You can take this and you can do this on the computer on the Zoom with them as well. It requires helping your co-op family to do the same that you've done up here. It requires your co-op family getting a minimum of 3 and you helping them to do so. Do you think that you could duplicate the duplicatable system that we have in place? Do you think you could duplicate doing booking a duplicatable VBR, a virtual business meeting right away? So I kind of skipped past that, didn't I? I didn't mean to. So, because that's first, that comes before spending a few hours plugging in, is duplicating the VBR, the virtual business meeting right away. If you're new on here, that is booking a Zoom with the person that got you in here, with the top people that you love and care about. Now, here's what's beautiful about this. I can say, hey, why don't you get on a virtual business meeting all of the people from step 7? Why don't you go through your list of step 7 people? We're going to do a virtual business meeting just for step 7 people alone. Or, hey, why don't you call everybody that you know that's close to retirement? And boom, we're going to do a retirement VBR. We're going to start titling VBRs, okay? We're going to do a retirement VBR. You know, you got to make it exciting for your people. You got to make it real, because we know, see, they don't know what we know. Man, you got to understand that. Your new person doesn't know what we know. They don't know how real this is. They don't know how much it works. They don't know that it's working for anybody that's doing these things. See, anybody that's doing these things, it's working for, okay? Then I say it requires being a driver and of your own business, sharing maybe 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day. So that's what I call a worker's day, is that they can use 15 minutes a day to text 20 people, 15 minutes a day at lunch to follow up or to call 20 people, 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day to power off their business, to power off their future goals being met. 3 or 4 presentations minimum a week, maybe about 3 hours worth of time, But see, you're writing these down. You're telling them what it takes in your eyes, okay? And they're answering to you on each one. Yes, I'll set up that VBR. Yes, okay? So if they say yes to all of these, they might balk for a minute, and then you're going to take them through it. They might say, 3 presentations a week, oh my goodness gracious, to get on. And then you're going to remind them, oh, so 3 hours a week isn't worth that 150,000, huh? You see, with my friends, I'm gonna poke them in the eyeball a little bit. I'm gonna say, oh, so you're not willing to do 3 hours a week for 150,000? I'm gonna get a little sarcastic with them. I'm gonna have a little fun with them, and I'm gonna point it back and forth to what it costs to get the benefits that they want. See, it might be one of my friends that's a motorcycle enthusiast, and he wants that Harley. Well, I'm gonna say, well, I guess you're not gonna be riding that Harley this year, buddy, you know, or whatever it is. Whatever it is, you now have right in front of them the power to show them how easy it is to get from here to here. So now, I'm going to share with you how quick and simple you can take them through this in less than 5 minutes. I'm going to use Sarah, and I'm going to just say, hey, Sarah, you know, I know we're here at lunch. Would you flatter me? And I want to do a quick exercise with you. And I'm going to pull out a napkin. I'm going to draw a T in there. I'm going to say, do me a favor, Sarah. You've seen the program. Well, I'm here to get your questions answered. Instead of me answering all of your questions, I want you to answer your own questions for whether this is for you or not. And in this process, we're just going to do this little exercise for about 5 minutes. You know, if you are donating out to people and you maybe had the results that I've had in 5 months, and you've donated out over $30,000 to other people that are receiving it for their benefits and for whatever their causes are, how would that make you feel? And what is 3 things? I'd like you to write down for me, Sarah, 3 things that you would like to see happening in the world or in your own life of that kind of sharing, that kind of giving, that kind of donating. Would you please do that for me real quick? And I'm gonna wait a second. And it's not gonna take her long, because Sarah's heart's this big, and this big of a heart takes 3 minutes to write down causes for herself. And I know some of hers. I know those grandbabies are one of them, you know, and I know her own retirement's one of them. And I know that she has not been happier in a long, long time as she has been in Co-op 50/50. Why? Because I'm her partner in Co-op life. Why? Because I'm her partner, and I get to see that joy. I get to see that smile. I get to see that happiness. So it's not going to take her long to write those 3 down. Now I'm going to make them a little bit real for her, right? And I'm going to have her maybe envision taking the kids to Disneyland in a couple of months, or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna have her envision going on and doing some of the things that Nalani Rude just did with her children. I don't know if you saw some of those posts, But I read one that they were just doing everything that they could to make those kids smile for miles. And we got to make that real for them. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to simply say, hey, do me a favor and draw a line under that. Now, what I'd like you to do is, if in a year from now, on the receiving end of things, to make a difference in your life, what's the number that you would like to write down? What's the number that you would like to write down that would make a difference 1 year from now, that would make a significant difference in the way that you're going through life? Boom, she's going to come up with a number. Maybe it's 50,000 because she's not trying to be greedy, right? Well, I'm gonna get her a little bit greedy for her own future, right? I'm gonna take her up to 100 grand. Okay, maybe she wrote 500,000. I'm gonna take her down to 200,000. So I'm gonna take people and put their first goals somewhere between 100 and 200,000, because I think that's really doable with what we have our hands on, especially if we have the heart to change other people's lives. And I know Sarah does. Then I'm gonna ask Sarah, please write down the 3 things that you're gonna do with that money. And hers are going to be somewhat similar to mine, but a little bit different, right? So she's going to write them down. I'm going to make those real with her. I'm going to bring life to them. I'm going to have her feeling it from head to toe, that they're going to come to reality, because we together are going to make that happen. And then I'm going to go through my list, and I'm going to simply say, hey, it's going to cost a one-time donation, wherever you're comfortable, somewhere between $200 and $8,000. You know, the person that starts at $8,000 has all 8 of those wheelhouses opened and all those donation centers open, and they're going to start sharing and receiving faster than most. But we talk about that sweet spot, and I'm going to mention the sweet spot there. And then I'm going to say, you know, I'm going to actually stop it right there. I'm going to say, you know, we don't need to go any further if you're not willing to share this blessing, because without this blessing, this thing does not work. And I'm going to talk about sharing and duplicating a minimum of 3. And those 3 people need to see the same vision as us, because I'm going to hope that I've taught her to stop them and say, hey, this isn't going to work if you're not going to share. This isn't going to work if you're not going to share. And then I'm going to go, requires plugging into the world vision at least a few hours a week. And you might say, you know, to get started, I think you need to be on every single night that you can. So I'm going to say 5 nights a week. So I'm going to say 5 hours for you to get started, whatever your comfortableness is with that person. And then I'm going to tell them about that we're a family, and that we help each other, and that we serve, that everybody has a role here in the co-op family. And I'm going to say, you need to be a part of that. And then I'm going to say, you need to be a driver of your own business. And I'm going to go more into depth of that. Now, I had extra lines there because this individual might be unique. This person might fly all around the world, and I might need to bring it home to them. Okay. So I'm going to say some different things that it's going to require, because it might be that I have some dear friends that only have 1 day a week that they can build this. So you know how a apple a day keeps the doctor away. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to give them some cost. The cost of this is, how can we eat 7 apples in 1 day? And I'm going to talk about eating 7 apples in that 1 day, so that they can accomplish the things that they want to do, so that they aren't so busy with that many hours in the next coming up years. We're going to give them time freedom, and we're going to show them how to do this, because every person, you know, you're going to do differently on this. That's why you start with a blank slate, and looky there, I did that in about 5 minutes time, and I got to your heart a little bit, and I got to their heart a little bit. And now the simple question is it worth these things over here, Sarah, to get these things? Is it worth getting these things over here to get these things? And I saw on our stream that she just texted, boom. So I know that Sarah's saying, yes, it is. And I know she just got fired up. Well, I'm going to end you with this. Show them you're with them. Take a picture so you can enthusiastically remind them of their reasons for joining the movement. So if you take a picture of that napkin, if you take a picture of that Franklin tea, I'm going to tell you a couple things that you can do with that. Maybe they got 5 or 6 no's. Maybe one of their friends is smarter than the tens of thousands of of people that are successful right now with Co-op Life. Maybe that one friend, as Jim Rohn says, ate the seeds. That bird came in, you're planting seeds all over and the birds come in and eat the seeds, as Jim Rohn says it, and steals our crop and steals somebody's dreams. Well, maybe with this, if you did this exercise with them, you could remind them of why this works and how this works. Because if they've joined us, you owe it to them to keep that on the forefront of their mind as often as you possibly can. Well, here's another thing that you can do if you take a picture of it. 6 months down the road, you can say, hey, can we have lunch? I promise I won't talk about Co-op Life with you ever again after this lunch. Would you give me, or can we do a Zoom? I'd like you to give me 20 minutes on a Zoom. And when you get on that Zoom with them, or you go to lunch with them, which is preferred, knee to knee, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, when you do that and you pull out that picture and you remind them of what they wrote down, and you ask them to give you the time for another VBR and to get this rolling again for them, I promise you 9 out of 10 times they're going to get re-enthusiastic. We all are human. We lose our fervor. We lose our enthusiasm, but you don't have to if you have a picture of your people's co-op tea. If you have a picture of their co-op tea, you can reheat up that tea all the time. Welcome them by introducing them to other successful co-op family. Pray and believe in each other and change the world one co-op lifer at a time. With that, that is